Yeah, so obviously things have changed now. I've got a boy, Aaron. He's the best boy in the world. He's making his communion on Saturday, and we're looking forward to a holiday on Sunday, aren't we?
Yep.
And he would absolutely love to meet a footballer, any kind of footballer, or a signature of a footballer, would you? Huh?
Yep.
So we get his hair cut for Saturday, yeah?
Yep.
Meant to do it today, but the woman wasn't there. The woman that he usually has. So we have to have a certain person to do it, don't we?
Yep.
My name is Cathy Gannon. I was a professional jockey. Rode 450 winners. I was the first female ever champion apprentice in Ireland or England. And I am just minding my child and doing a bit of jockey coaching at the minute. I'm from Dublin, Donamead. We lived in Finglas first and we moved to Donamead. My brother used to have ponies and we used to just ride the ponies all the time and have the bit of crack, and it was different then years ago, we were able to go out and go running and bunk the trains and off into Holt, and all our friends, it was great crack, all Hammy, God bless her, and Carly and Flanagan and all the girls, Barbara Halpin and Ruth Eastwood and my sister, I used to be hanging around with all the girls and all, but then in the little bit of time I was a bit of a tomboy, so I'd be going riding the ponies and all and jumping on the bareback, and my brothers used to be killing me because they'd be their horses, do you know what I mean? And then I'd be trying to rent out ponies and all that, so my brothers got us into the horse riding. Obviously I wasn't great in school, but I used to love horses, and I was only allowed in an hour a day, and because I was a little bit hyperactive or too disruptive, as I'd say. But and I loved horses, so I used to ride my pony down to the school and tie it up out the back and then ride it home. So that's kind of where it all started. And I remember a friend of mine, Johanna McMahon, and all, trying to ride the pony and all, and she used to love the trot but not like the canter, but it was all bareback, so it was different. Then obviously I was allowed in school an hour a day, and had me mad up to wall now. I love horses, and Miss Deirdre Shields out at Trinity College in Donamead got me into the racing academy in Kildare. So yeah, I went to the racing academy school, and it was brilliant down there. I mean, we were there for, I think it was 32 weeks or 42 weeks, and there wasn't many girls at the time then, I mean, like now it's nearly half girls and half boys. There was only 6 girls there, and at the time when I was there, and Helen Keohane was there. She'd had a few rides. There was no, I think the rest of the girls kind of moved on and did other things, Helen Keohane rode on the track. Now she's a mother of 3. It was, we did the 42 weeks, and I really learned loads down there. I listened every week, and it was hard coming back down on the bus, crying and missing my man. So I got a little bit homesick, So it was very tough at the start. Starting out. As I say, there wasn't many women jockeys riding then at the time. Joanna Morgan she was very good. Julie Burke actually written me a letter when I was champion apprentice. Julie Crone, sorry, Julie Burke. Julie Burke was riding now. Yeah, so it was hard. Yeah, at the time it was hard. It's a lot easier now, I suppose. Holly Doyle and a lot of girls riding at the minute. So there was Nina Carberry riding when I was riding as well, and Katie Walsh, and Nina Carberry was my idol. Do you know what I mean? She was very good. Knew nothing about racing before I went to race. Not a ticky, but all I knew was getting paid for something I loved. Riding bareback ponies is all. And all I remember one of the army saying, "I'm very confident," and I didn't even know what confident word meant. I was only on school an hour a day, English and maths, and I didn't know. I obviously just rode, and it was great time. We had great time in race. Best memories I'll ever have in my life is down in the racing academy school. But it was hard for me to leave me home, But I was having to give my ma such a hard time. I wanted to make her proud, my ma and Dala. And with my 6 brothers and 1 sister, it's not easy, you know what I mean? I wasn't the only one giving a bit of grief. My twin brother, he works with doing stunts with does Games of Thrones and all that at the minute, does stunt work and that, and yeah, Like he tried to be a jump jockey and wasn't successful. So now he's jumping off horses. He used to get a few falls jumping and that, and now he's jumping off horses and getting paid. How do you say? I actually pay money to go out and ride horse. I get paid to go out and ride horses. And it tried to stop me from getting hurt. And here he is jumping off horses. So look, it's worked out different for him and it's worked out different for me. But well, the apprentice school put you into different yards, you know, which would suit you best, you know, with your like ability, your manner, your, you know, which different trainers. And I don't know how I got sent out to John Knox's, but grace of God, I'd say, because I'd say I don't know where I'd end up in. You know, I had like mad, like, I mean, I just tell you stories, like he'd be like, you know, right, Cathy, I was pretty cheeky, and you know, and came from Dublin and real Dublin accent on me, and I remember I got suspended one time, and I rang him back up crying, please, John Knox, I said, don't suspend me, I'll kill me, I said, please don't suspend me, please let me back in. Anyways, he let me back in, but that was because I was fighting with someone on the gallop and I kind of walked out. But obviously, yeah, John Knox's was a great time. You know, there was lots of people there. They were all good, helping me all the time. But like, there was, you know, Pauline, there was Jane Cook, there was Pauline Ryan, Jane Cook, there was Gillian Spencer, there was Aoife Dwyer, there was Argie O'Neill, there was Slim, there was Stuff, there was all a good bunch. John Mobbs and Iggy Lawler and Peter and all out on the farm. And I was obviously sent out to the farm to ride the pony when I went to John Knox's, because I'd never rode in the saddle, and I used to always go up to John Knox, will you let me ride in a race? Like, will you let me ride a racehorse and all? And the other apprentice used to come in and riding out up the neck and all, and thought he was, you know, with these, and he used to always polish up his boots and all, and I'd be riding the pony, and the ponies would be worse than the old horses. He'd come in plunging and all, and I'd be always saying, don't forget about me, Mr. Rocks and all. And the lad said to me, right, Cathy, enough is enough. Go up to the boss there now and tell him you don't want to be, you want to be a jockey, and you don't want to be riding the pony anymore, and you want to ride the racehorse. So off I went up, and they're all laughing down the yard, like I didn't know any different, you know what I mean? And so I said it to John Knox, and he was just like, you know, when you're riding next time, he said, just hold a shorter rein in your reins and do this and all. So Fozzie and Finn Bark was a pony, and one run away, I think it was called Sylvester. Another time I was out to Curra, he said I could go out and ride him out in the evenings. And I said, can I jump him, boss? And he said, yeah. So I was just jumping away there, and he was walking in, and he said, I said, Cathy, I said, yeah. If you jump, I said, yeah. I said, you said I could jump. He said, yeah, but not on the golf course. You know what I mean? I was out jumping trees and everything on the golf course. He just scratched his head at this one. There's something wrong with this one, do you know what I mean? The ponies were there actually to help us, do you know what I mean? And I remember one of the days Ian Power rode the pony, and I was after him riding for months, you know what I mean? And he rode it out for some reason, and it dropped him at the top of the gallop, and he was sitting at the top, and I was like kind of delighted a little bit, you know, my own little way, kind of, said, nice one. John Knox was a very good working man. He was out every day, looking at every horse. He knew every horse inside out. He knew what you were riding, you know, walk around he wanted, what, you know, he knew everything. He knew all the breeding. He was very good, you know, very good horseman. He'd walk around every evening, and I used to be the last person, 6 o'clock, the last box. So people would finish at 5:10 and run out the door. But I'd be last and then putting on the bandages and all. I remember one day, I was the last one, and I was riding the pony at the time, and he came in, he said, how was the pony getting on? I swear to God, I didn't say try stay on him, mental it was. But I didn't know. How was the pony getting on? I said, he was a bit lame, and I said, boss, I said, he's messing with us. He's not lame at all, I said, I'm after taking him out there. Hadn't put a saddle on him, I said. I brought him out, I gave him a lunch, 10 minutes lunch. Now I'm after bringing him back into the saddle. I bring him back into the stable, putting the saddle on, and he won't walk out the front door. He's only messing with us. He's not lame. Obviously the 10 minutes of the trotting wasn't made after making him lame, do you know what I mean? It's nice for the laugh and going away, but just so many stories. Like, and I finally got out to Curra one day, and obviously me, out to Curra, setting off, you know yourself, going around and up the straight, right? So nobody explained to me what I had to do, leading the string, and I was going great, and I came to a little turn. was like thinking, fox cover gallop, where do I go? Left or right, what will I do? Next thing I went left, and they were all breaking their heart, laughing at passing me, right? And I was pulled up in the gallop. I was like, please, Mr. Rocks, don't let this go against me, I said. And he said, no, just the next time, don't trot in the gallop now, right? So years ago, I put 2 lads on the walker, and I was afraid to take them off of what they do with me, you know what I mean? So eventually I had to let them off, so they got me and threw me in the muck heap, and then brought me down to the heckler and writ over my backside. John Ox's was here or something like that, or TADHG O'Shea. They brought me down to the racing academy school, put TADHG O'Shea in the back of the car and told him to kiss me or he was dead. And I was like, and they were shaking the jeep and all, and I was mortified. But I mean, the things we did, you know, like I said to John Ox, I was telling him a story, you know. We were going racing one day and I telling him a story. I'll never forget this story until I'll ever last. But as I say, John Ox was such a gentleman. He was like father, like to me. And I'll never forget this, right? So I had a whole string behind me, 35 or 36. We were always having the laugh and all. And I was telling him a story about my dad. My dad's really nice, you know, he's always a kind person. And John Ox knows that, like, he go out and he goes, I've rubbish out my shed there, belong to him. He takes it out, gives it, this is like this. He brings down bikes and all the time. Like, he picked up somebody there and they fell on him and broke his back. You know, he's actually too nice. So I was telling John Ox this story that was going racing one day. And I said, the string was behind me, and I said, you know, it was lashing rain and we were on our way to Leopardstown. And he says, yeah, right. And I said, yeah. I said, it was this woman hitchhiking. I said, my dad picked her up, you know. I said, it was lashing. And me and my sister were like, Dad, please don't pick her up, don't pick her up. Next thing, my dad stops the car, picks her up, right? So I get out to help her with her bag. And I said, so the weight of the bag, I said, Jeannie Mac, I said, the weight of that bag. And she said, mind your own effing business, what's in the bag? And I was like, what? Anyways, right, so I get in the car, right, my sister was after feeling the weight of the bag going down, you know. And they noticed, I said to her really nicely, Jeannie Mac, that bag that bag is heavy. And she said, mind your own business, but in a nice way, right? So we're getting further and further on ahead, and every time he mentioned the bag, she kept saying, mind your own business, mind your own business. So even my dad and he were looking at each other, and I was telling this to John Ox. And I said, and even my dad and all, and everyone was looking, like, they were all looking at me. And finally, we get to the Red Cow roundabout, I said, and we're off up to Leopardstown, and she said, we said, right, my dad said, Jeannie, you would have been struggling in that lashing rain. And she turned around and she says, mind your own effing business. So my dad stops the car. I said, look, he says, you don't need to be rude like that, you know. He said, I'm only giving you a lift, helping you out, he said. So that was grand. She gets out of the car anyways, drive on to Leopardstown. What was she after doing? What? Leaving the bag in the back of the car. Right, and I'm there to John Ox, right, and I'm telling him this story. I'm waiting for him to ask me what was in the bag. No answer, right? And all of them laughing at me, the whole string. Go on, Cathy, you bloody idiot, right? He meant to ask me what's in the bag, and I was going to turn around and go, mind your own effing business. I wouldn't say effing to Mr. Rocks, obviously. Well, anyways, so he comes back to me after tea break. After that, he's that polite, never asked me what was in the bag. He comes back to me after tea break and says, Cathy. I said, yes, boss. He said, about that bag, I think you should go to the police station. Well, I nearly fell. I said, I don't know what to say, Mac. So it was great storylines and all, great crack and all, and John Ox is like, I had, like, as I say, I have 6 brothers and 1 sister. I always had to fight my corner, you know, and in any game, you know, you have to, especially in a horsey game, you kind of have to fight your corner. Boss, when we have our first ride, Ian Perry used to say to me, right, Cathy, ask the boss when are we riding and all. So I put Mr. Rocks to say, Mr. Rocks, when are we riding? When is me and Ian riding, right? So he said, I've got a runner next week, an apprentice race, he says. Tell you what I'm going to do, I'm going to flip a coin between us. Anyways, he picked heads, I picked tails. Who wins? Him, heads. I got tails, right? And he said, I might have another runner in. And I was like, please, Mr. Rock, please. I said, it'll make my man dad really proud. Please run it, right? So he ran it anyways in Wexford. And I was like, all delighted and all. My man all come down, the whole family and all come down. Now, John Ox and Mrs. Ox after giving us talks about how to speak to owners and all, you know. And Ian was on one, and I was on one. He was on Lyle Dale, and I was on Bayadi. And I started pushing 7 furlongs out. And he was hitting, I finished third and he finished fourth. I pushed mine out that long that after the line I fell off it. And I got back up to get on the horse and I fell down again. My legs were gone underneath me. So they legged me back up on the horse and I walked straight in. And straight down I went again, back on my bum. trying to carry the saddle. I couldn't carry the saddle in. So anyways, John Knox said, you better get some fitness into you anyways, right? So probably 10 rides after, or 7 rides after, I was riding Quavilly second string in an apprentice race. And the boss said to me, just watch the bend now, it's slipping. So I was like, yeah, me and another apprentice walking the track, not even taking any heed of it at all, still young, blah, blah, blah. And it's my first winner, and it's Quavilly. So I got around the bend, right? I was going well and all. Obviously, I was after pushing early on, and I was told, I got around the bend, right? I was after been pushing, and I kind of stood up, right? And I was waiting to go around the bend, the bottom bend. I was canting up by the line. I didn't even know it was the line. I got around the bend, and I was crouching down and started pushing and all. And they're all going, well done. I was like, what? They're like, well done, you won. Instead on the intercom, cheeky fashion, Cathy Gannon. I remember Pat Mullen saying, that one knew that, she's cheeky, that one, she has it, you know what I mean? And John Knox bought me new goggles and all, knew everything. I was riding at the Curragh the following week. He said, do you ever ride at the Curragh, Cathy? And I said, no. Did you ever walk the track? I said, no, boss. I said, I'll walk it tomorrow. And he was like, gee, back me, jockey, how would I walk it tomorrow when you're riding today? I was like, here. The main jockey there was Johnny Morta. He was brilliant. He was great because he'd always run them, and he taught you loads, like riding work and all, you know. Even John Knox, like if you messed up in a bit of work, you know you're in big trouble. You could mess up on a racetrack. I remember people throwing dockets at me and everything. I left town, and I couldn't jump horses, like I was stuck like 4th or 5th down the line, 11 to 10 favourite, couldn't go anywhere. And some fella came in and threw a docket at me, and John Knox just shook his head. He said, look, it's not your problem, not your fault, you can't jump horses. Obviously I was upset anyways. So Johnny Morton was there, he was great. Niall McCullough, Franberry, they were the jockeys there at the time. They were really good, really nice, very helpful in every way. Obviously, so that I wouldn't be, you know, on the racetrack. You know, I kind of didn't know any danger till I kind of lost my claim and went to England. And I remember Niall McCullough saying to me, I was riding around Clonmel, and he followed me obviously, and usually if someone follows me, they just probably say, don't follow that one, and you go anywhere. But he followed me because I kept in the straight line all the way around Clonmel, you know me, straight thing. He said, yeah, riding well, Cat, even though I finished down the field, you know what I mean? But yeah, he was a great mentor, and so was John Knox. The likes of SINDAR was there. We had a big party and all, it was great. We won the big prize for, Johnny Murtagh got us tickets to see Robbie Williams and all that. Ridgewood Pearl was there. There's loads of good horses there when I rode, and that's what was great about it. I used to win on outsiders because Johnny Murtagh say won them all, you know. And then Johnny was struggling with his weight a little bit, and he was kind of letting me ride them all. And it was great, not like, you know, he'd ride the majority because he was struggling with his weight. And I was fighting for the championship at this stage with Pat Cosgrave, and he beat me by 3 in the end. He was a great jockey, you know. And my first year I rode a winner. And then the following year, I went down to £7 claim, I think. And it was in 2004, 2003, I was second runner-up in the apprentice title, and to Patsy Cosgrave. And then I won the following year's 2004, which was the best thing ever, you know, because my man, Dad and all were there, my brothers, my sister. Obviously, I was after getting the vibe for riding the winner, and I was a bug, like as I say. So I was ringing trainers every day, like ringing them all the time, going, and I'd have to ring them 3 or 4 times in the day, like, and I'd be like ringing, and you already rang me today, like I didn't know because I'd be looking at different races, like I'd be, you know, oh, and I'd ring him in that, and I'd ring him in that, and I'd ring him in that, and so I think it was Ger Lyons or Ger O'Leary, I think, or one of them gave me a ride. And he said she must be the busiest jockey on the phone ever in life. So there was people ringing John Knox to tell him that I was ringing. So he hadn't got me an agent, Heather Dean, which got me through great. Like she was doing really well. Like she used to have Declan McDonough and all on her books, and she used to really vouch for me, you know, because she was a girl and she always wanted to see me do it, you know, and she'd always give me good skills, good coaching skills, you know, as well. So I mean, it was great at the time, the achievement then, you know. I rode 33 winners that year to win the Champion Apprentice. I think it was 33 or 34. And I beat Rory clearly by 5. Now, I had 5 ahead of him going into the last day, and I was still a bit worried, but they were like, hey, you have this in the bag, you know what I mean? No, it was great. And like then, you know, we went to we all went out and we met, and then went to loads of awards, and my dad was so proud of me, you know, so it was just so good feeling. And the following year then, I was after losing my claim then. And the following year, I was saying to John Knox, thinking, he might give me a few more rides, because we were drying up the rides, I was after losing my claim. So I just say to John Knox, I might go to England, thinking to myself, oh no, I'll keep her. Went to John Knox and said, I might think I have to go to England. So he came back down to me and he said, I think you might have to. So I was on the boat driving over, bawling my eyes out. Didn't know where I was going. My mum was after writing a map for me. 4.5 hours meant to be. It took me about 8 hours to get there. I don't know where the map sent me. I'm the same as my mum with the map, and where to go, setting off. Anyways, I went to Kevin Reins in England. I was after doing a few winters there. Kind of knew a few people, but didn't know who I was going to. If they were still there in the winter and that. I knew Kevin Ryan and that, and they took me in really well. Like, I knew Amy, and, they made me part of the family, but it still wasn't enough, I kind of did all right there, and he had me riding, most days, and took me in his family, lived in the house. Had great crack there with a lot of people there. Had great crack with Kevin as well, so he's just a good crack, and Amy and Andrew Mullen, he was over there at the time and all, and as I said, the things, like, as I say, racing can make you just totally, I used to sleepwalk terrible, like, and I, like, the things, like, I don't know why, it must be just all in the mind. So, Andrew Mullen, I did loads of sleepwalking now, but Andrew Mullen, we were after watching a movie, and stayed in his house, because I was in Torres or something, wherever have you, I don't know where it was, when him and his wife and all went to bed, and I went to bed anyways, and I came in on the phone, thought I had the phone in my hand, sleepwalking, not much on me now. And I'm asking Kevin Ryan for a sponsor. And them two are breaking their laughing, right? And then I start walking over to the table and start pulling it out and all. They got back into bed. Anyways, woke up next morning, didn't know any of it, right? I was like, I've often broken my arm or so, and I often wake up on the couch after going to bed. I wake up in a different room. And I remember as well, I broke my collarbone one day. It took me ages to get into my pyjamas, It took me ages to get into them. And I woke up in the attic, with not much on me, and out of my pyjamas and everything. So anytime I stayed at David Evans is just great crack and all, but anytime I stayed at his, I just put pillows and everything up the door, so I wouldn't get out. So it's imagine me walking into him, nothing on me, like with Dave Evans, like, I'd be like, oh my God, he'd be in his element, but I was just like, just the stress, I think it is. I don't know what it is. It's just, I suppose, your mind is going, and you just. So yeah, obviously I was in Kevin Ryan's for a year, and Bryn Paulin offered me a job down there. Bless him, he's dead now. He was a lovely man. He offered me a job. He used to have a few horses there. They'd be, they wouldn't be the best behaviour. You know what I mean? The horses, they'd be a little bit scary and that, and a few people did not turn up for them. So. He offered me a job with 35 horses. Now, in fairness to him, he let me ride everything, and I stayed in a caravan in the middle of nowhere. And he let me ride them all. And obviously, it's hard when you're down in Wales and you're driving 3.5 hours for a race. And I got a couple of winners out. His horses weren't doing so well. There's a few nice rides, a few round good ones and that. And he was just happy to have somebody, a jockey that had committed him and ride them, you know what I mean? So, as I say, I rode for him, and I remember being in the caravan actually once, and obviously I'd won ride 66 to 1 shot or something, and I remember going to Wolverhampton races, 3.5 hours, and I was after 5 in the race, right? There was 5 of us in the race, 5 or 6 I think. So he said, so anyways, I'll make the running for you. I says, I'll make the running, no bother anyways. Anyways, I'm making the running, and Wolverhampton is like around the bend, after the bend, a mile and one start, and after the bend is the stable yard, kind of. So I go out to make the running, and my yoke ducks off out to the left, out to the stable yard, and I bring the favourite with me, didn't I? So I get in anyways, I was like, oh God. And he said, see you, go back to Dublin. He said, you're only a knacker. He said, go on your pikey, go back to Dublin. And he said, ride your ponies, he said, what you doing putting a effing 100 to 1 shot up and making the running? I said, you new man. I said, and what you doing following 100 to 1 shot? Anyway, so that was grand, right? So I was going home, I was fuming with myself, driving home. After fighting with them, and it was the following day, I went another 100 to 1 shot. And I said, I was in there and he was 100 to 1 shot. I was out the back door, miles out the back door. I'm not going to say this fella's name either because he's still riding. And we come in, right, and I was out the back door and I just come in a little bit just to get in, you know. Next day, whatever, and I pulled up and he's like, yeah, brain dead, C-U-N-T. I said, what? Yeah, brain dead, C-U-N-T. I'm like, I said, hold on, Cathy, relax, just relax, right? I'm like fuming from the day before, you know what I mean? I'm driving 3 hours for a 66 to 1 shot and like spending money to ride, like. So I just got in and I was like, Cathy, just relax. And I was like, no, would you speak to Graham Gibbons like that? No. Would you speak to any of the other jockeys like that? No. So I ran and I just went, bop, bop, bop. I got my every one of them. HAYLEY and all went in and dragged me off him. So anyways, he's the same agent with me, right? So he's the same agent with me and I said, I was a bit sorry for, I lost the rag with him, you know what I mean? And so the agent said to me, Neil Allen, now he was great. He said to me, Cathy, you may sort this out, so apologise or whatever you have to do. So I says, right, Cathy, bite the bullet now, apologise to this fella, right? I'll ring him up. Look, Luke, sorry. Oh, I shouldn't mention his name. So anyways, bite the bullet, ring the jockey, anyways, ring the jockey. Ring him up, bite the bullet, ring. Well, alright, I'm sorry, he said to me, you wait. And I said, you wait? I said, wait, get me on, I'm going to kill you. He was coursing at me down the phone. I'd kill him. So I'm sitting in the stalls then, right next to him, he's there beside me, right? I said, have we quits? And he's looking at me, yeah. I said, are we quits? Yeah. Are you sure we're quits? Yeah. Okay, so I jumped out, got it! But obviously I was aware of him and we were only like kind of putting your foot in the ground, you kind of have to do that, not like, obviously now you're not allowed to even say slag people at the minute, but in them days, like, as I say, you had to kind of stand up for yourself. I wouldn't, like, coach any of the kids to anything like that, like, not, but, as I say, just taking someone's ground now and again, but not putting them in danger, that kind of way. So, I think they ride a little bit tighter in Ireland than they do England. There's a lot more races in England to get better chances, than Ireland, because Ireland's only one meeting a day, if lucky. It's very slow at the start, and they might get 3 or 4 meetings as a double meeting, in the day. They wouldn't get many double meetings, you know what I mean? Whereas in England you could have 10 meetings on a day. So that was the advantage that was, good for me. And the most man would be champion apprentice, I suppose, when my whole family was there. But when I won on Dingle View up the Curragh, I Group 3, I was after flying home for it. And David Evans flew over with us and all, and he's mad, like, he used to speak to John Ox and all, and the things he come out with, just like Dave, you don't say things like that to Mr. Ox, zip it. But it was 28 to 1, all my family and all came down, they all watched it, they were all having a few drinks and all, and I was like, obviously I won the Group 3, first Group 3, and that race stands out. Another race I rode for Michael Stout, a listed winner. Ryan Moore actually stuck me in for it, and he said, whatever you do, Cathy, don't knock anyone down, because Ryan Moore said, Stout is a bit, like kind of, you could kind of be, not fair is the fair, but like, don't be looking and panicking, that's what Ryan Moore was saying to me. So that was another race that stands out. I rode loads of winners. One for Andrew Baldwin there at HAYLEY. One of the jockeys boxed me in, the same jockey that I obviously what goes around comes around. Wouldn't let me out, but I got out anyways, and I won the race by a head. But that was another big Channel 4 day of the races. My favourite race course would be Chepstow, Bath, or Tipperary, or the Curragh. The reason why Bath and Chepstow was David Evans' horses. I got very lucky there. David Evans' horses used to run well there, and I rode loads of winners, and I just learned how to ride the track very well, because it took a long time now, but I did. But around Bath, you know what I mean, I kind of kick on the bend, get a pull up the hill, and then kick again. Chepstow you can kick 4 out and then take a breather and go again. Watch the dog, Aaron. And I kind of got to know them very well, rode the tracks very well. Horses were lucky for me. I rode for Malcolm Saunders, he was another nice fella. His horses used to do well there. Royal Ascot be on and I'd be at Bath and I'd be putting on my thing, my hat on my way to Royal Ascot. Royal Bath. But I loved it there. Well, we kind of had, we were always called Willy Watchers in the weigh room, but we just always just in there. It wasn't that to us or anything, no. But me and Hayley and all, we'd have the crack, yeah, great crack off each other, you know. There was Kirsty Millsack was riding as well at the time, Leona Mayer, Amy Scott, you know, it was great. And yeah, it was great crack, like Franny Norton was the funniest, and in the weigh room, and Midge, Andrew Mullen, all the Northern boys, and you know, just a lot of them there. Just you'd always go in and be always somebody having a banter. Tygo O'Shea was the best. He was, and he still is. You know, he get where gas wouldn't. Do you know what I mean? He's like talking the talk, you know, and everyone we have to laugh and all. He's always like, I remember years ago we were driving racing, he'd be getting the yellow pages and he'd be ringing people, you know, asking them to be bulls for sale. Well, the bull there is an old cow and all, you know. And he actually rang. He got me going. Actually, Tyke did. He rang Derek Thompson and pretended to be me one year because he was able to mimic people very well. And he rang saying, "Will they bump me up in the races with you at the races?" He said, "I'm too behind Hayley," you know, and he took off my accent like. And sure, Derek Thompson went out the next day and he was like, "I just want to say how well Cathy Gannon is riding and all, you know." And then they replayed it again. It was like all Tyke O'Shea and all. And the last we used to have with him. And yeah, he was great crack. And I kind of, when he stopped riding in England, kind of missed him a little bit, you know. But I had 76, my best year was 76. Every bloody winter I'd get an injury, or every end of the summer, I think it was October, I'd nearly get an injury. I broke my femur, my back, my shoulder, my collarbones, my foot, my jaw, my 5 toes. That's when my career ended, was Liz Frank fracturing my foot, my 5 toes broken out. I remember the incident happened. One of them told me it was a bad ride. I said, "Sure, what do I do? I'll just get off it does happen." Anyway, I was in the stalls, it just flipped straight over. I was trying to get out of the way and it caught my foot. And I was like, "Oh, don't tell me to get back." I was saying, "Don't get back." I was like, "I can't get back up," and my foot's killing me. So I walked in, it was like a balloon. And I was looking at it and I was like to the lads, "I don't know, what do you think? Will I be able to ride?" Like, "I don't know." I said, "See, it's like a balloon, but I don't know. It might be, hopefully it's not." So I went to the one of the hospitals over there. I said, "Oh yeah, you'd be grand. You just have a little fracture just on your little toe there. You'd be grand." So I said, "Grand, nice one." Booked those rides. Thinking Diamond, he was another good ride horse that I won on. That he was, I enjoyed riding him. You know, he was a good sprinter. He actually got me into riding in Group 1s and that. You know, well, just group races, and yeah. So I booked a ride on him and all my rides and all. Here I am trying to ice my foot down and all. Then the next day the hospital rings. "Whatever you do, don't put your foot on the ground. You've got a Liz fracture. It's very serious. You've dispatched half your foot from the other half and broken 5 of your toes." So I was like, "Oh God." So with all in all, then they said, "Look, 8 times out, 10 footballers don't get back from it. So when you're getting out of stalls and all, every time you're going to bang it, 6 or 7 times you're going to bang it." Now I was right out with it now. It's okay, you know. I got a heel made that I could use, that it fit, that I could still ride out with it. So that's what finished my career, you know. It was hard finishing, you know, for my dad and that, you know. Just I know my ma kind of understood, because my ma be out the kitchen watching, out the back watching a race by this stage after all my injuries, you know what I mean. It was just a hard thing, you know, to process. And as I say, you know, I've had a lot of injuries, you know, and that was kind of the biggest thing, that I kind of get going and then I get an injury and then I'd have to get the rod taken out of my leg and my shoulders. And then I rode with a broken shoulder, like must have been 10 days later. It's still broke now, but as you can see. But I had what happened was, I was just last year, I was getting, my hand was going all white when I was trying to do stuff. I thought it was my shoulder, so I went to the doctor and I said, "Oh, the hospital thing." I said, "Oh, the ponies after pulling me." So he's like, "That's not your shoulder." I thought it was my shoulder because I've always had troubles with my shoulder. One pain will take over another. If you have pain in your leg, or if you pain in your arm, go kick the door, do you know what I mean? It'll make a different pain for you. So he said, "That's not your shoulder," he said, straight in. So he said, "You've clotted your blood, you've blood clots from one underneath me broken collarbone." So we're trying to ring the hospital back, and he'd be like, "No, she must have broke that again." But I know I remember riding after a collarbone 11 days or something, loads of painkillers. Obviously I was ended up with blood clots, 2 blood clots, 8-hour operation. And yeah, so obviously, as I say, it's just kept riding, and you go through pain, you do anything to ride, you know what I mean, to get back. It's not the soreness. It's the mental torture of being out, you know, and missing rides and having to go back and ride all again, start again and ride all them not bad horses, bad rides to get to where you were. So I remember one day actually I was riding it, I was at Suddle. This is a good one actually. So the steward's coming up and he says, there's a spare ride coming up, your man never turned up, it was a bad ride. Cathy, don't ride this, don't ride it. I said, what? I said, it's all right, I said. He said, this is a bad ride. I said, sure, if it does happen, I said, I'll just get off it. So, anyways, my valet said, your man comes in, he says, who's riding my horse? And my valet, Musty, he's a good crack as well. Musty. He said, Cathy Gannon will ride her. For say, anyone else? Right? So I was in there, and the lads were like, looking and saying, Cathy, don't now, if he comes back to you, don't ride it, his mate. I don't want to say no, I want to ride a horse. So I really wanted to ride it, but like, they were lads, I couldn't go against the lads, you know what I mean? So we went round the whole way with him, 34 of them. Anyways, all of them, no. Comes back to me then, he started giving me orders. So I was like, look, I said, I wasn't good enough the first time around, I'm certainly not good enough 34 times around. The horse never ran. So it just goes to show, you know what I mean? I used to, you know, Godolphin once be standing out for spare rides, just call me spare ride Cathy Gannon, because if you just look straight over you, do you know what I mean, or anything like that, and be always out, put my name down, any spare rides, I'll ride them. Just because one ride can get you 10 rides. Do you know what I mean? People might be late, like I could get winners out of them, I've got winners all through spare rides, or even if one runs well, you'll get another, do you know what I mean? So that's the way to look at it. That's the way I looked at it. Great friends over there, I had great friends in the racing, you know what I mean? I didn't have much time for many friends outside. That's why I came home, you know, that kind of way. I love Ireland, I love my home, I love my family. Thinking Diamond, I loved riding. Yeah, I loved riding because he was, you know, it was for Mr. Candy. He was such a lovely man. He's like John Ox, and I just clicked with him. You know, when you click with a horse, and obviously he was a good rated horse, but I was telling him, I don't know, he was kept running home in the races, so I had to try setting him off, you know. Got him to win over 7 after winning over 5 and all. So he was just special to me. Dingle View was special to me as well. She won. I actually rode SINDAR, yeah, because he was very quiet. A bomber couldn't eat him. But I didn't know he was as good. I probably wouldn't rode him when he was as good, but I probably did. I can't remember, but maybe just walking home from the gallop. I actually backed See the Stars. Every time I got injured and all, I come home, or every time I got suspension from race riding in England, I used to fly home and ride out for John Ox, and I was out riding out for him. And first I was out with my shoulder injury, and I started back riding the pony for him, and I was like, the pony was pulling me harder than riding the yearlings. So I was like, boss, I went out, rode out the yearlings then. The yearlings are easier rides because you have to learn them, you have to teach them, do you know what I mean? And the older ones are bigger and fresher and pulling you. And so, yeah, so I rode him. I don't know if I backed him actually, but I know I rode him out that year. That's the year. I remember I used to go in in the evening, as I say, in the evening I could win, I'd say start at 7, I'd ride like 20 lots to be tacked off me in and out, on and off. Bad news, good news, any news is good, is publicity, isn't it? That's the way, that's my ma said to me. She said any news is good, is publicity. So I was riding at Newbury one day. I don't think I'll mention the name. Anyways, I shouldn't as well because it's in the papers. And I took a picture of the food and I sent it. And I said, this is I was at the pain, like, I was at 2 rides. And I was like struggling at the time. And I went, took a picture of the food, and he says, this is what we have to eat, athletes. I said, and I tweeted it, right? So anyways, I called into the stewards room and I had to accept. I was on the phone, wasn't I? And I'm like, I'm sorry, yeah. I said, yeah. Unacceptable, £280 fine, right? And only 2 rides. I was crying coming home. On the phone, Michael said to me, that was an expensive ride you just had today, wasn't it? So I was fuming when I was rang Richard Hughes anyways. Next morning I woke up, my text was bing, 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 bing. The race post was after getting hold of it. Cathy Gannon fired for poor food at the races, and everyone was like, obviously from a low to a high, you know what I mean? All the lads chipped in and gave me the 280 fine, like out of the way room for putting the tweet up. So it worked out great in the end. Hayley's great crack. I really found Hayley good friends, you know what I mean? She's quite, you know, we'd always have to laugh and I'd be giggling and all, you know, like in races or trying to beat each other, or like, even though like I'd say a rider win, I'd hate to say, well, don't try, it kills me, like, you know what I mean? Because she'd be riding all good horses and all, here's me baiting yokes and all, not baiting yokes, but here's me like pushing, you know, riding 28 to 1 shots, 100 to 1 shots and all, and it killed me now. But I know she was great crack and all. She we used to have the banter. I remember, of course, she was going out with Kieran Fallon now, and apparently one of the lads betted Spencer to kiss Kirsty out on a night out, and he was after giving obviously Hayley told him, I don't even know what he say this, will I? But anyways, so down to start with 3 of us, me, Spencer, Tom Quealy, and all the stall handlers and someone else. I said, here, Spencer. He said, what? I said, when is it my turn? He said, what? I said, you're after kissing Hayley and you're after kissing Kirsty. I said, when is it my turn? We're all laughing, weren't they? Anyways, in the way room, and they're all going, tell the boys what you said, tell them what you said, right? So I was after telling them, and as I told them, Kieran Fallon walked in. And I was like, oh my God. And so I didn't know, obviously, I got in the car, I got a text off Kirsty. Do you know Cathy Gannon's going around the room spreading rumours about me and you to Spencer? I was like, relax, Will, I'm only having the crack. I rang Hayley and all this, and she was laughing. So anyways, the next day, I said, Fallon's after ratting me out, you know what I mean? After telling Kirsty, I said, get waiting. So I went into the Leicester away room and I was like, I said, yeah, I was talking to Kirsty yesterday, right? And he didn't come up and ask me in front of everyone. I was waiting for him to come up to ask me in front of everyone. And he said, he never said that, and he came back down to me after. He says, so what did she say? What did Kirsty say? She said Spencer was better than you. Well, he nearly fell off the chair. Anyways, flattened me in the race, next race. Next race, I was gone. Down, ding, 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 ding. Fallon flattened me. So he said, he's going mad at me. Anyways, I said, yeah. But I was hoping he'd say it in front of everyone, so I'd say it in front of everyone for the laugh. So that was just another story. So then, I was after getting a stick off Kieran. I made friends with Kieran. I made friends, but back friends with everyone, you know what I mean? Because it's like a family in the way room, you know. Have a falling out, people slag about it and then get back, blah, blah, blah. And same with Kirsty, we'd have the laugh and all and back, and Kieran used to go out with Kirsty, didn't he? And Kieran Fallon was after giving me a stick, and I was riding loads of winners with it. I had KF at the end of it, you know what I mean? Kieran Fallon. And anyways, Kirsty comes in now, and we'd laugh about it now. When she come in, she says, we're all sitting down at Kempton. She says, Cathy, have you got that stick? I said, what stick? The stick that Kieran gave you. I said, what do you mean? She said, that's mine, he got it out of the boot of my car. I was like, really? Stop. She said, it is mine, he got it out of the boot of my car. And he said, I said, his name is on it. So she said, well, it's my stick. So I got the stick in the truck. I said, you know what, have it, throw it at her. So I got, anyways, after that, right, I bought a stick and I put KF at the end of it, right? And me and Hayley, pissed myself laughing. And excuse the language, we got laughing our head off, right? And I put KF at the end of it, right? So I'm in there like that, like, not too bad, Hayley, isn't it not? I said, he gave it to me, he felt sorry for me yesterday. I said, that's given it to me today now. He felt sorry for me. There was more than between them. I said, oh, here, the lads just have to crack, do you know what I mean? Just to kill the day. I'm still waiting for the kiss off Jamie Spencer, I suppose. Oh, actually, I did get a kiss at Champion Apprentice. He was champion jockey that year, so. Riding winners, the way room. Like Musty and all in the way room, all the crack there, you know. It's just great crack. Driving, racing, even though you'd be paying him backside doing it, but they used to tell me I'd have a handbrake or something parked in my car just trying to get lift, but it wasn't me, it was Tygo O'Shea. You know what I mean? He always pretending that his car's broke down so he'd get a lift. And if you're always saying something, a reason, and then he'd slag me about it, like, and I'd be the one driving and all. But I used to try get, like, lifts as well, so did everyone, but Tygo O'Shea would sleep all the way. Now I'd wake up, not a bother him, like, he like red eyes and here's me trying to sleep the best in the car, I'm like that, couldn't sleep, not even racing going through my mind. And Fergus Sweeney and Dane O'Neill and Liam Canary and all, they were all they have the kind of few people that go. It depends, George Baker and all, if they were going somewhere and you were going to the same place and the same place after, it's all about timing and all and trying to get lifts here and there. But yeah, like Tygo O'Shea said, he's that tight, he'll only breathe in, he won't breathe out. Right? You know what I mean? He's holding his breath, he is. I swear, with the lads, we'd give him some stick, like, for not driving and that, and making excuses, like. I'm hoping to get back into racing academy there hopefully next year. I was there for the start of last year's course going in, just that they're a bit low on funding, which, as I said, I enjoyed it there. I'd love to get back in there, you know. I did 6 months and they couldn't renew my contract because they're a bit low on funding and that. As I say, Joanna Morgan was speaking about can't get in the staff. It'd be a very shame if race did go downhill, you know. Now they've got great instructors there. They've got Paddy Flood, great jockey running his time, great man, great time for people. You've got Paul Keaton, he's very good. He used to ride out all the good horses and John Oxes and all that nobody could ride. Great horsemanship. There's Kate McMahon down there, she's very good. There's Stephanie Wilfris down there. They've got a good team down there, and as I said, I hope we get back in there and help them coach the kids, the students coming along. Would be a real shame if the place did kind of fall apart, you know. In the meantime, while I'm waiting for that to happen, I'll probably ride out somewhere in the mornings. As I say, I drop young at the school, so just give me a little bit of a limited time. So if I kind of start somewhere at 9 o'clock and finish, you know, 1 o'clock, you know, that kind of suit. So it's just obviously that's what I would be kind of looking forward to, getting back to riding out. I haven't rode out in 6 weeks or so, so I'm trying to get his communion sorted out for Saturday, and I'm going on holidays to Tenerife on Sunday, so looking forward to that. The best advice I've ever been given is always work harder than the next person, or whatever you put into it, you get out of it. You know, I do tell the apprentices, like, you know, don't be going in there mucking out 10. He's mucking out 4, I'm mucking out 5. I said, get in there and muck out 6. Be better than the next person. Don't be, and go help people. Go in and help people. You want to be liked. You need to be liked in racing. You know, there's a lot of, you need people skills, people person skills. There's a lot of jockeys out there that haven't got people skills and grunt at the lads, right, walking, leading them up. And they're doing all the work at home. You have to have people. Talk to them, talk to people. You need people skills. That's a big thing in racing. And, you know, just to work really hard, as I say. Yeah, so that's what it is.